Okay, so let's get into the story of Shanice Williams. This is a woman who gave up everything, her career, her time, her energy, for 8 years to be the perfect wife and mom. And her reward? She ends up in a courtroom, about to lose it all. Her home, her money, and even her own daughter, all because the man she trusted had built this seemingly perfect case against her. So picture this. The courtroom is silent. The judge is literally about to bring the gavel down, and Shanice's entire life is just hanging by a thread. It's the absolute lowest moment. But then, right then, a tiny voice cuts through that silence. And that's where this story really kicks off. And that voice, it belonged to her 10-year-old daughter, Amara. So that's the big question, right? What could a 10-year-old possibly know? What kind of secret was she hiding on her little cracked phone that could completely flip this entire case on its head? Well, the answer is going to expose a betrayal so cruel it's hard to believe. To really get how we ended up in that wild courtroom moment, we got to rewind. Before all the lawyers and the lies, Shanice honestly thought she had a pretty good life. I mean, it's the life she sacrificed her own dreams to build. But, underneath that perfect surface, the cracks were already starting to show. And this really sums up their marriage. On one side, you have Shanice, who is giving 110%. She's up at 5 a.m., she quit her job, she's making the perfect home. And on the other side, her husband Malcolm, who's just checked out. He's there physically, sure, but emotionally, he's a ghost, making her feel totally invisible in her own house. And looking back, oh man, the red flags were everywhere. It's like a textbook list, right? The new cologne, the weird receipts, the phone that's suddenly locked down and always face down. But the really messed up part was what he did when she asked about it. He'd flip it on her, call her paranoid. That's a classic manipulation tactic called gaslighting, and it worked. It made her doubt herself and ignore the truth that was staring her right in the face. So Shanice's world didn't just fall apart, it was demolished on purpose. The moment she got that big envelope from a law firm, it hit her. This wasn't just a breakup. This was a cold, calculated plan to completely erase her from her own life, and it had been in motion for months. The first punch was financial. Janice logs in to check their joint savings account. The family's future, their safety net. And this is what she sees. Zero. A big fat zero. Every single cent they had saved together was just gone. And that was only the beginning. So where'd the money go? Right here. Over half a year, Malcolm had been quietly siphoning off their money, moving almost $500,000 into some secret offshore account. This was no impulse decision. This was a long, carefully planned betrayal to leave her with absolutely nothing. But he didn't just steal the money. Oh no, he had to ruin her name too. He claimed she was neglecting the house, using pictures he took while she was literally in bed with a 103-degree fever. He accused her of reckless spending after he racked up 50 grand on her credit card. And the finishing touch? A brutal report calling her an unfit mother, written by his mistress who was posing as a psychologist. Now, fast forward to the courtroom. The most powerful weapon they used against Shanice was the testimony of a so-called expert, Dr. Simone Garrett. To the judge, she was a respected psychologist. But to Shanice, she was the woman whose perfume she'd been smelling on her husband's shirts for months. And on the stand, Dr. Garrett just spun this web of lies. She took a moment where Shanice had grabbed her daughter to pull her away from a moving car and twisted it into an act of aggression. A mother saving her child was reframed as abuse. And because she was a doctor, the lie sounded terrifyingly real. And that was the trap. Malcolm's lawyer just poked and prodded her, pushing all her buttons until she finally snapped. I mean, who wouldn't? Her whole life was being torn apart with lies. But that outburst was exactly what they wanted. It made her look just like the unstable mother Dr. Garrett described. Their plan worked, or so they thought. And that brings us right back to the beginning. The judge is ready to rule, Shanice has lost all hope, and then her daughter, Amara, walks in. It turns out she'd been watching everything, not just in the courtroom, but for months at home. And she was holding the one thing her father never, ever thought to look for: the truth. So Amara walks up to the judge, and with his permission, she plugs her old, cracked iPhone into the big courtroom screens. This wasn't the new iPad her dad had bought her to try and win her over. Nope. This was some forgotten old phone he probably thought was worthless, a phone she'd been using to secretly record his every move. You could have heard a pin drop in that room. The video starts to play.
And bam! The first thing everyone hears is Malcolm's voice caught on tape, bragging to his mistress about the whole financial scheme. He's openly mocking Shanice, calling her clueless, and admitting he'd been draining their money for 6 months. In an instant, his lie about her being a reckless spender was completely obliterated.
But it gets worse. The next clip exposes the entire conspiracy. You can hear Malcolm coaching Simone, telling her that her testimony is what's going to seal the deal. He even admits he's going to provoke Shanice on the stand to make her look unstable and back up Simone's fake report. He laid out the whole evil plan on camera. And this was the final vicious blow. A toast. Malcolm and Simone clinking glasses, celebrating their plan. Toasting to Shanice, the mother of his child, getting absolutely nothing? Their cruelty, their contempt, it was all right there for the judge to see. There was no denying it now. The effect in the courtroom was immediate and total. That video didn't just change the judge's mind. It set off an avalanche of consequences for every single person involved in this scheme. The justice that seemed so impossible just minutes before, it came down hard and it came down fast. The judge did not mess around. He went right down the list, undoing every single injustice. Shanice got full custody, she got the house, every penny of the stolen money was ordered back to her. And then, in the most stunning move of all, both Malcolm and Simone were arrested right there in the courtroom for fraud and perjury. His entire case was thrown out, just like that. And the consequences didn't stop there. Malcolm got 10 years in prison, Simone got 7, and her psychology license was revoked for good. Even their sleazy lawyer was disbarred. But you know what the best part of this whole aftermath is? Shanice's new beginning. She went on to start her own business, and together with Amara, they built a new, happy life, completely free from all that poison. In the end, Malcolm's biggest mistake wasn't just his greed or his cruelty, it was underestimating his own daughter. He looked at her and saw a kid he could manipulate, not the smart, watchful girl she really was. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? How often do we all underestimate the quiet people in our own lives, completely forgetting that sometimes the smallest voices are the ones holding the biggest truths?